I've been out there and
Yeah, well, yeah, in fact, my ex-wife had family, son in Mexico. Where was it? It was near El Paso.
Couple weeks.
Okay, but there was no, it was just all horizon. I mean, it was all, you look at something and say, oh yeah, that's 75 miles away. Right. Las Cruces. Right by Great Sands. I mean, there is nothing there. People had green rocks for grass.
they paid him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Well, I guess you don't have to
doing
mow
it
it.
following
You
the
don't have to
CDC, so
mow
I'm
it.
good, but you might want to.
I guess, and you pray for a cloudy day too.
I'm fine.
It's the CDC.
I've had it twice already, so.
Maybe you're renewing.
Oh no, I got sick.
No, I mean after, twice. My granddaughter had it twice. She was really, really sick the first time. Wow.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so let's call the July 27th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting to order. And we will do the roll call, start out with.
Steve Hakenen, Lake Enchantment.
Dennis Ferraro, Eagles Nest Road.
Bethany Cody, Lake Enchantment.
Jim Johnson, White Oak Drive.
Linda Winslow, Norwood Street.
Jason McCarthy, Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Okay, approval of the agenda.
Can I request a friendly amendment to the agenda? The short-term rental public hearing for Nicole Heisrup, which was tabled on June 8th, is actually scheduled for the 24th of this month and not tonight, so I would ask that you remove that.
It doesn't matter that it was noticed for tonight?
No, it was noticed for the 24th.
No, it was noticed for tonight?
I amended another agenda and left it on there.
In the minor journal?
No, it's noticed properly with neighbor notifications for the 24th.
Okay,
The only mistake I made was putting it on this agenda.
And the mining journal showed it to be the 24th too, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
so they put another ad in then?
They must have put another.
Oh, okay, all right. We did have a question before we get into it for the proposed mini warehouses. It said that you needed to have a public hearing because it abutted a single-family home residential property, and we can't see where that is on the property.
No, that land use is a special land use, I believe, in the, every page of our land use is here.
Single-family dwelling immediately to the east.
The surrounding properties don't say there's any single-family homes abutting it, nor even in the vicinity, so that's why.
I understand the question. I'm looking for the land use, first of all, in our land use nomograph. I think it says storage mini warehouse somewhere.
That'll come up 2 meetings ago.
Well, I never try to create more work for myself, so I believe that the land use is a special use permit in the development district, regardless of whether it's adjacent to a residential land use or zoning.
So you mean because it's a warehouse, that would be a special land use?
No,
And
because
that's-
it's a mini storage facility.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's a special land use in the development district. That would be on page 13 of section 1505.
It's
Okay.
not general business district?
It's not general business district.
Isn't that where the,
It's a special land use in the general business district as well,
okay.
okay?
So then it doesn't have anything to do with the residential part of it then? That-
No,
Okay.
no.
All right. So, approval of the agenda.
Make that motion.
Okay,
Support it as amended.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, let's move to, or public comment, sorry, or no, minutes. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Minutes from the previous meeting, July 27th, 2022.
Move to approve.
I'll support it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass unanimously. All right, now it's time for public comment. If anyone wanted to make any public comment with not pertaining to the public hearings, you're welcome to do that now. Seeing none, we'll move on to number 6, new business. And we will open the public hearing for special use number 081022-1. Proposed mini warehouse storage land use on a property located within the general business zoning district. Parcel tax ID number 52-08-450-017-00. The applicant is Andrew Mansfield from Integrated Designs at 1021 West Baraga Avenue. Jason.
Well, good evening again. Andrew, is that
Correct.
nice to see you again? Okay, I think we've met one other time, but Andrew is here to represent the owner. But this location for the mini warehouses, and typically mini warehouses are special use in most districts, and that's so the planning commission can review the land use on an individual basis. So this is the subject property located adjacent to the Westwood Mall, the back side of the mall, and it is currently a vacant property. It is zoned general business. This is a copy of the Fossbender Farms Assessor's Plat that goes way back in time, way back. These are the surrounding land uses, which are, if you see by the zoning, there's development district to the north and general business essentially surrounding it. And north would be looking left, okay, so the left side of the page would be north. And this is a, typically as planners are concerned, an advantageous way to present storage units, because you wouldn't want to see a broad side of a facade facing the public right away. So if you look around in most locations, I would say in Marquette County, specifically up towards the Negaunee way, there's more storage units up that way, and you'll see that most of them are, the end of the building is facing the road. That's for security reasons in part, but it's also due to aesthetics a little bit too. So these are the kind of a conceptual site plan that Mr. Mansfield put together. Again, this is not a site plan review. That'll come after, or if the planning commission elects to approve the special land use. Very light uses around the vicinity of, well, there's vacant property in the area, but it's zoned very similarly, and this type of land use could be applicable to any of the properties that are surrounding it with a special land use permit. So we reviewed this a little bit at our last meeting, or not, 2 meetings ago when we scheduled a public hearing, but essentially there's been no extensive changes to the proposal. It's just a matter of having a public hearing and making sure that everybody was notified. We did not receive any written or verbal comments from any of the surrounding properties on this one.
Okay, if the applicant would care to make any statements, we'd be open to hearing that now and answer any questions the board has. If you could state your name and address, please.
Andrew Mansfield. I work for Integrated Designs at 1021 West Baraga Avenue. So I'm the applicant, just concur with everything Jason said. Again, it's a conceptual plan, so if especially land use is permitted, we'll go ahead and develop a site plan and then come back to the planning commission when that's submitted. Any questions?
Any questions from anyone?
Yeah, I got one, just a minor question. So you're not gonna have any oil interceptors in that commercial garage for the loaders, that kind of stuff?
There will be
You're
an
not
oil,
anticipating any
there
fluid
will
leaks
be
out
a
of those?
separator.
It's a sand separator, but nothing to capture oil?
No, they're not going to do any maintenance in there.
Unanticipated leaks out of heavy equipment, anything like that?
I mean,
Maybe?
equipment leaks, but I think when our mechanical reviewed it, according to code, as long as you're not doing maintenance in there.
Okay, so it's a code thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? And you said we had no written public comment, right, Jason?
That's correct.
All right, well then let's open the public hearing at 7:12 for anyone to comment on this topic. Okay, I guess seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing at 7:13. And any discussion? Further questions, motions?
Make a motion to approve the special use permit for the proposed mini warehouses as described in item 6A of the agenda.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All right, I'll roll call vote. Steve Heikkinen,
Yes.
Denny Ferraro,
Yes?
Bethany Cody,
Yes.
Linda Winslow,
Yes.
Jim Johnson's a yes. Motion passes. Okay, we're all set on this one.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll be in touch with you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to 6B under new business and open the public hearing for number 081022-2, proposed scientific research facility to be located on a property located within the developmental district. Parcel tax ID is 52-08-020-028-00. The applicant is Jesse Nye from Mount Manufacturing, 200 Echelon Drive, Suite C in Nagani. Jason.
Okay, so this building has changed uses several times, but it's a convenient location and a convenient spot for a small business. Mr. Nye put together a detailed special use permit application, and again, not much has changed at all according to the application itself. So the public hearing is to establish whether or not the scientific research facility, which this particular land use falls under that category as they make instruments for medical devices, is proposing to relocate in this property here. So the neighbors within 300 feet were notified, and there's obviously an ad put in the newspaper for that. This zoning is development district, and this one does trigger the requirement for a special land use, or not, well, it's about special land use, but it triggers the public hearing when residential is adjacent and or residential land use is adjacent. So in this case, you have residential land use but not residential zoning, and the neighbors within 300 feet were notified. I did get one inquiry from a neighbor in Forest Ridge, and they just had questions in general about what the proposal was, and indicated that they would attend the meeting. Is that, I don't know if that's the gentleman there, but anyway, I provided a copy of the information, and they seem to be okay with that. So here's the site again. The land uses surrounding it are, there's the little house that's to the left of this, on this picture. And as we looked before, there was adequate screening per the zoning ordinance requirements that was already established, and of course we don't want to remove any natural buffer that we have. The one nice thing about this proposal is that the outdoor storage that's currently being displayed or somewhat hidden on the east or the west side of the property, or the right side of that photo, will be removed and regraded to a natural area.
Are those concrete bins that have the material in them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna be removed completely?
That's the goal, yep, yep.
Is that the onus on the new owner?
It is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If they're not being used, we prefer that those be removed, Jesse.
Okay.
And we had talked about that previously, yeah. So, any new signage or lighting, I just put in there that obviously we would like to know about before it's ordered or established. That way it conforms to the requirements that we have for dark sky lighting. And of course, I don't think you'll have any problem with signage there, because there's an adequate pole sign to identify the business. So, yeah, in my opinion anyway, a really good reuse, trying to attract more research and development, high-tech industry businesses into the community, and certainly that fits that bill. So without any further questions, Jesse is here if you have any additional questions of the applicant.
What was the prior use? What was the sign?
Right now, it was a Northland Basement Enterprises, I believe it was, so they would fix up your basement, and that's why the aggregate materials were there, and some construction debris.
Thank you.
And before that, it was carpet.
Carpet, please.
Okay, if the applicant has any, anything to add to this, you're welcome to do that now and answer any of the questions any board members have. Sure, come on up.
I just wanted to say that my co-founder and I are...
State your name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jesse and I with Mountain MFG. Just wanted to let everybody know that the co-founder and myself are natives of the area, and we're really excited to bring another technology company into the Marquette Township area. We really honestly love the location, and we think it's perfect to attract future employees and talent to the area. We do a lot of medical device consulting, as well as production of some of the prototypes and things like that that our customers are using to take into surgery. So we've had a pretty successful past 5 years, kind of got through the startup phase, and now we're looking to expand the operation. And really the biggest issue we're facing right now in our current location is square footage. So this building will just about triple the square footage of our existing and give us a lot more room for growth, and hopefully keep bringing more talent and more people to the area.
Any questions from anyone? Nope, all set? Okay, thanks, Jess. And there is no written public comment then, right?
No written comment, no?
Right. All right, well, we'll open the public hearing at 7:19 to anyone that would like to comment on this topic. Yes, ma'am? You can come up. You can come up here and state your name and address, please.
I apologize that we're late. My name is Sally Kennedy, and I am the president of the Forest Ridge Condo Association. I'm going to apologize if I'm going to ask the same question. First of all, it's pretty vague on the letter. So in general, I'm just asking what kind of a science slab is going in, any type of toxic gases, explosives, what's generally what is going on there for us to know living so close to it. I mean, it literally is in our backyard.
Okay, we can have Jason answer that.
I would prefer to have Jesse answer that, yeah.
Want to have him answer? Okay. All right. Could you come back and answer that for her then, Jess?
Right now?
Yeah, please. If you're done, ma'am, are you done or?
Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
Definitely appreciate the question because scientific research could mean a lot of different things, right? Our company is comprised of primarily engineers and CNC machinists. The materials that we work with are inert materials like stainless steel, titanium, things like that. There are no gases of any kind that we use, and as far as any chemicals used in processing, our machines actually are cooled with a vegetable oil similar to what's used in cooking. And the vegetable oil is safe for people, it's safe to use on the hands, and it's actually not even disposed of, we just filter it and clean it and reuse it. So, also I'd like to state, we're looking forward to being in the neighborhood and being good neighbors to everybody, so our door is always open and we're always available for any other questions or issues.
Are you an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday operation, or is it 24/7?
Our business hours are 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. We do also run an afternoon shift, which is one person right now, and that one person works until about 11:30 at night.
So is there going to be like a constant hum that we're going to be listening to there?
No, in fact, when we were first putting together this special use permit, I did a noise decibel study just unofficially outside of our current building, and it was impossible to hear the machines even just right outside of the door. So there's almost no sound at all.
So everything is going to be in the building as we see it? You're not going to be building onto it in the future?
Our current plan is, as we were talking about earlier, the building is about 3 times as big as our current operation. We don't plan to add on to the building. And one thing I will say is that we are also not going to store any type of raw materials or any type of debris, anything like that outside the building. So we plan to return the gravel parking area where there are aggregate and some concrete block right now back to, clear all that out. We'll get rid of all that. We'll get rid of the block. And we'll turn it back into a nice kind of a natural area.
Have you already bought the building?
Actually, we have a signed purchase order that's contingent on the special use permit approval, and we're scheduled to close on the 16th of August if this is approved.
Jesse, do you want to back up a little bit and just explain what your company does?
Yeah, of course. We're basically we develop and manufacture medical devices. So last year we produced somewhere around 70,000 implantable screws used in foot, ankle, and hand and wrist surgery.
Right here.
Yeah.
Just had that done.
Very well could have been a Mount MFG product. And then also the instrumentation that goes along with the surgery. So we specialize in orthopedic trauma and extremity.
Okay. I can't believe that this is all that showed up. So much concern, huh? Do you have any questions?
No,
Bill?
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I had some correspondence with you back and forth. I think I bought a riding lawnmower from you guys, didn't I?
Yeah.
But yes, I'm glad that you showed up and came and found out. The township has a goal of attracting more research and development and high-tech industry into the community. And Jesse and his team found a building that would work for them. And so, this is a required process because we do have residential neighbors. So if there's an issue that you have at all, if the special use is approved, we would ask that you either contact myself or Jesse himself.
Where are you currently located now?
Our facility is located at 200 Echelon Drive in Marquette Township, so the old Marquette County Airport.
Okay.
And we're leasing the space currently, and the situation is just basically that there's not enough room in our current building for us to expand and grow. We've been looking to either build a facility, and honestly with construction prices the way they are right now, it's almost not feasible for us. And you know, the purchase price of this building was about half of what we were looking to spend if we had to build something, so it just happened to be absolutely perfect. The other thing is, occasionally we have customers visit and regulatory bodies that conduct audits, and it's nice to be in an area that has hotels and restaurants readily available for those people to you know, stay the night.
Now, as the future goes on and say you do want to expand, is that something then that gets, also we get notified of that? Or since he owns that property, they own that property, can they do with it as they please?
The use, once established, is for the entire property. To be honest with you, there's not a lot of room to expand, but there is a little bit of room. So that would be up to the owner of the property at that
Okay.
time. But if there's more than 5,000 square feet of impervious surface to be added, then it would go through a site plan review process, but you would not be notified.
Okay.
I guess I would state that and this would be many years in the future, if there was an opportunity for us to expand it, the logical direction would be to the west and further away from the
Where we are.
residential area, so hopefully we'll keep that, you know, we'll keep that nice visual screen between the residential area and our building and keep it well maintained. And yeah, our goal is to be good neighbors. We really don't want to be intrusive, and I hope that the community sees our business as being potentially less intrusive than any other previous business that utilized that space.
Well, I will tell you up front that we're the youngest people at Forest Ridge, so we maybe got 20 years left, so there's your window.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jess.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else wishing to speak? See no one else, we'll close the public hearing at 7:27. And we'll open it up to discussion amongst the planning commission members. Any comments, motions,
I personally
questions?
think it's an excellent use of that property. I think it's great. I mean, it's a high tech, they've got good paying jobs, engineering, CNC, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's a viable concern. RTI has started this way, or Pioneer Labs, or I don't even know what it's called these days, but I mean, it's the same type of facility, so, I mean, I think nothing but good could come out of this.
I agree. Great addition to the township.
Agreed. Make a motion to approve the special use permit for the proposed scientific research facility as described in our agenda item 6B.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? Another roll call vote. Steve Hakinen,
Yes.
Danny Ferraro.
Yes.
Bethany Cody.
Yes.
Linda Winslow.
Yes.
Jim Johnson's a yes. All right. Great. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Hope to see it open soon.
All right, thank you.
All right. Moving right along here. 6B-C. We'll open the public hearing for this. Zoning map amendment number 081022-3. Proposed extension of the general business zoning designation on a parcel that currently has split lot zoning between general business and developmental districts. Tax ID number is 52-08-017-018-20. The applicant is Jim Odevaro, JCP Trust Highbridge Group, 220 West Washington Street, Suite 220. Jason.
As you know, this is the property here, the former Fish and Wildlife Building. I don't want to get into a big deliberation about this, but Jim, you had identified two parcel tax IDs. The county parcel layer shows one. Regardless of what happens, it'll extend on both properties.
Okay.
Regardless whether this is separated or not. But basically, we have a proposed reuse of this property. And if they wanted to accomplish all three of the proposed uses in that building, it would be beneficial to the applicant and the property owner to have this line of general business extended to the southerly property line or right-of-way line of the cut-across road. That would encompass the entire parcel and clean up their application that was submitted. Obviously, we have some public hearings coming up on the 24th, and as a result, and as part of my guidance to the applicant and the property owner, it would be beneficial to have this property extended, or at least the general business district extended. So as far as comments received, I had Mr. Neil Jandron stop in yesterday. I thought he might be here tonight, actually, but his general concern with regard to the land use, not the zoning text amendment, but it was more in line with the land use, is obviously odor control and things of that nature for their prospective customers on his property. So other than that, I had no additional comments from anybody, written or verbal, other than Mr. Jandron asking a couple of questions, but he was supportive of it when he left my office.
Can I ask just a general question?
Sure.
So the request is to extend the general business district and eliminate that portion of the property that's development district, correct?
Yes.
Is there any benefit to Mr. Odavero to do it the other way? To make it all development district versus general business? Is that even a consideration?
No, not in this case, Steve, because the proposed land uses that accompany this request require general business
Okay.
zoning.
For the new owner and their proposed?
Yes,
Okay.
not the new owner, the new leasee.
Oh, excuse me, but the new business going in there?
Yes.
Okay, understood.
Marijuana.
Yeah, I got you, okay.
And special use isn't permitted in DD, correct?
Correct. It has to do with the process, or the grow operation, yeah.
Gotcha.
You had a question at the last meeting about property taxes and the situation where the Odaveros owned the property but leased it to the Fish and Wildlife entity. So, yes, property taxes have been paid to the tune of about $50,000 a year for a long time.
Okay, so even though it is a federal government thing, the fact that Mr. Odavero owned the property, it didn't matter who was actually in the building, even though it was a federal entity, he is still responsible for paying property taxes as it was a commercial venture.
Yes, and if you were to look through your packet, I believe the property is valued at over $1 million.
I wouldn't know that.
And it's probably only gonna go up from there.
So Jason, that red line is going to go up?
Just on
Like
that
a
property.
board. So is
So-
it advantageous to make it go up all the way across?
No, I don't
No?
wanna do that. It would have involved a lot more notifications to people, okay?
So as people ask,
These white lines are parcel lines. These are property boundaries. The black lines are roads.
yeah,
And the variation in colors are the zoning districts, as you're aware. This line here is a section line. So it made sense back in the day
Yeah, it was
to
just,
follow a section line for zoning. In this case, it's a simple map amendment. We've got a good proposal, we believe, for the reuse of that property. And it happened quickly, and thank you for that.
actually, that probably should have been caught when that parcel was developed, that it had split zoning. That should have been picked up then, I guess, right? Or wouldn't it even, well,
How long had the Fish and Wildlife been there?
2007?
2007. So our last zoning ordinance update would have been in '96. So,
And I
yeah.
think their use didn't require special
Right,
use.
right,
It
yeah.
went through the normal
I
site
suppose,
plan
yeah.
review, so zoning probably wasn't looked at that closely.
those white lines are a little faded on those two.
Well, that's by design,
Oh my God.
actually.
Here, you see them better here.
yeah.
They're semi-transparent on that.
Yeah, much
It's easier to see on that one.
Yeah,
So staff supports this. I mean, in my opinion, and I kind of directed them in this way to clean up that so that when they go to resell the property someday or convey it, that, they have general business land use. It's a more robust district for a variety of land uses. A lot of the land uses that we have are available in the development district as they are in the general business district. It's just that this particular one with regard to, I wouldn't say it's controversial, but a new land use with the marijuana processing and growing does require general business zoning because that's where we wanted to keep it.
Did you say before there was a possibility of that road getting straightened out then also?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of like a planner's dream, but that would involve obviously some money and some work and maybe some coordination between the property owners, especially the animal medical center, because it kind of goes around their property, that little jog there. But perhaps in the future, there could be some deal struck between the property owners and the road commission and ourselves to make that happen. I don't think it's completely necessary. Like if this was going to be a Texas Roadhouse steakhouse or something, then it would be very important to address circulation in that area. But this is a kind of a lower. I think you'll have less traffic going in there than you do with the bona fide Fish and Wildlife building that vacated it.
Okay, if the applicant would like to make any statements or answer any questions for anyone, welcome to do that now.
Okay. I just wanted to point out on the map, you mind if I go over there?
No.
If we do extend this district, there are some natural boundaries. County Road HQ, I don't know what this one's designated than this one, will basically create a boundary on the north, east, and west. So it won't really impact those other properties around on the other side of the road. And then the property line down here is Target, so it'll be contiguous with the general business. So I don't think it'll be disruptive. Now, as far as operational stuff, the Fish and Wildlife people had all sorts of chemicals and hazardous.
Would you identify yourself, please? for the-
Oh, sorry,
just for the
I'm
record?
Jim Clark, I'm with JCP Trust High Bridge Group.
Thank you. Jim.
Sorry about that. And the chemical use they use there is just fertilizers and stuff like that, and it is on public sewer systems.
Okay.
One good thing about this facility that I think is good for the community, it will not have that much traffic, but it's secure with the fence all around it and the barbed wire on top, so it will make it a secure facility for the tenant.
We'll talk about the fence
Okay.
during site plan review. Or not site plan review, but,
Conditional use.
yes.
Any questions from anyone? All right, well then, let's open the public hearing to public comment at 7:38. If anyone would like to speak on this topic. And we're seeing no one coming up to speak, so we'll close the public hearing at 7:39 and open it up to the planning commissioners. Any comments, questions, motions?
Move to approve the special use permit. for-
Zoning map amendment.
I'm sorry. The zoning, move to approve the zoning map amendment as designated in our agenda item 6C.
Support.
Any more discussion?
Just a note that if this is approved tonight, I will try to get it on the board agenda for next week. If not, it'll be 2 weeks. But I'm trying to have this go in stereo with the application.
Okay.
All right, roll call vote. Steve Hickenen,
Yes.
Denny Ferraro,
Yes.
Bethany Cody,
Yes.
Linda Winslow.
Yes.
Jim Johnson's a yes. Passes unanimously.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. And I guess we're getting a tour of the building once they open up and they're giving out samples from the owners.
Jeez.
Why not?
It is legal, I
It's
guess,
legal.
guys. You can say what you want. You're being recorded, so it's okay.
We can make that request.
Yeah.
It is good to have an open house. Lots of people will certainly be interested in
Well, one of the
the
problems-
building and how it's gonna work. There will be lots of interest.
They have a lot of security requirements. as
Well,
far as
that'll
who
be
they let
good.
in and who they can-
Yeah, people will have questions about that too. It's by a school.
It's further enough, it's far enough away from.
I know, but it's still by a school.
Understood.
Yep, and a bike path and, but let's be good neighbors, as we say, and
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So, we're not going to 6D, so we're going to 6E, which is a special use permit public hearing request for proposed short-term rental land use to be located on property located within the rural residential zoning district. That parcel tax ID is 52-08-028-007-00. The applicant is Peter and Lisa Klausner, 2425 West Grover Street in Marquette.
That should be Grove Street.
Oh, okay.
Did I really put Grover in?
Yep.
yeah.
Wow.
It's a Sesame child.
It's
Sesame
Friday
Street
job
child.
here. Peter?
Right.
Are you Peter? Okay. Nice to meet you. I'm Jason. So Mr. Clauser and his wife submitted an application for a property that they acquired right next door to them, which is helpful. Because when I first looked at the parcel layer, I was like, ooh, that's pretty close. So if you're looking at this, this is Mr. and Mrs. Clauser's home here to the east, right? And you acquired the property to the west, I believe.
Yes, but the property to the west of us is only half the width of ours, so I think maybe the star is our house, and the next property to the west is the property that we purchased.
Okay. Well, I used your parcel tax ID numbers, but,
We've got 10 acres and they have 5 acres, they're half the size of us.
it falls under the rural residential zoning district, and as you know, we do allow vacation or short-term rentals by way of a special use permit. So this meeting is just to request that the public hearing be scheduled for that proposed special land use. Gentleman included a narrative from his wife Lisa, and I assisted him with some mapping and with the zoning map provided tonight.
Not enough time for the 24th, right? This will be in September?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, staff recommends that the public hearing be set for September 14th, Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Can
Any
I ask a
questions?
question for
Sure.
you, Jason?
Yes.
So, when you first looked at this map, you thought, ooh, that house is kind of close to the other house, but they're adjoining parcels. I mean, right?
Yes, they're separated.
Okay, so now, when we provide the special use permit for the short-term rental for that parcel, does that short-term special use permit only apply to Mr. Klausner? Or if Mr. Klausner sold that house, and then that house that was the short-term rental was again close to that property, could he continue to rent out that short-term rental property without owning the property adjacent to it?
The use travels with the property,
Travels with the property, okay.
Stays with the property.
stays with the
Yeah.
property.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Good questions.
Yeah, it is a consideration. You can see there's some narrow,
Yeah, do you have these photos on your, might help a little bit more?
oh, those photos, no, but if you look, Steve, at that screen, you'd see the parcel layer on there in black. So they are narrow, but they're legal non-conforming.
Can I ask you, sir? Can I ask you a question? There's a, because I drive Grove Street every day, because I live on Lake Enchantment. There is a home in there that has a, kind of like a low concrete block retaining wall for drainage.
That's just,
That's gonna be the short-term rental parcel?
Yes.
Okay, I was just trying to
And I
reference
think
where it
those,
was.
those are just dry stacked
Right,
lots.
I think it's more to divert stuff in
The
case.
the spring thaw would
Sure.
bring all the leaves. and-
Okay, yeah, I just wanted more of a visual
Yeah.
for my own purposes where it was.
So this use actually travels with the deed of the dominant, or
The parcel tax ID number, yep.
Yeah, it doesn't really travel, it stays with
it
that.
stays with it,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it doesn't go with the owner, it goes with the parcel.
Parcel, I see.
But we can
Can I
revoke.
ask you this, are you paying, do you get a homeowner's exemption on your property taxes for both parcels?
No,
No,
Okay, good.
no. He lives in one,
Right,
which is his primary residence, and then he understands, I told him about, he's not gonna receive a PRE on the other property.
which
because
he
he's
doesn't
gonna-
have anyway.
Right.
But,
Yeah, he wouldn't get it irregardless whether it's a short-term rental or not.
but if there was no dwelling on that piece, because it was contiguous, he would receive a homeowner's exemption for that piece of land.
And the
I don't think
contiguous
so.
parcel.
No, it has to be your primary residence.
No, I know, but since it's contiguous to his primary residence, if there wasn't a house on there, he would still get the homeowner's exemption.
If he requested the assessor adjoin the properties,
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
but it's a separate tax ID number.
I see. So that if he requested the assessor to adjoin the two properties, he could get the homeowner's assessment for both parcels then, even though he has a dwelling on them.
Not if a special land use is approved where it would be prohibitive to do that.
I see, okay.
Even without that, he still couldn't get it. Because wouldn't be his primary residence.
Right, and then there's the whole issue of, minimum lot width and dimensions. In order for two homes to be on the same property, as we learned through the tiny home process, they have to be individually saleable, meaning that they have to meet all the minimum requirements for lot size, lot width, setbacks, etc. So that would fit into this category as well.
All right, how about this then? Since it's a non-conforming lot, can a non-conforming lot in a rural residential area be granted a special use permit for something like this?
That's a great question, and yes, there is a provision in the ordinance that indicates that even if a non-conforming lot exists, or even a non-conforming structure, any permitted or special land use available in that district can be approved.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, great question.
And this is a rental house right now, right, Pete?
No, the owners just moved to Florida.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, this is, we can talk people's names, right? It's
Yeah.
Jim and Carol Brogan.
Brogan's, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I decided to live in Florida year-round now.
okay.
Well, that's a really hot place to be in August, that's what I'll tell you.
And we assumed they were gonna stay till October or something, all of a sudden.
It's really hot.
Maybe
Hot
they'll
and
come
wet.
back and rent the house.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Rent their house, that'd be a great idea. Huh?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why is a 5-acre parcel a non-conforming lot?
It might have to do with the depth to width ratio. So
Okay,
it depends when the lot was created, to be honest with you,
okay.
because the Land Division Act changed over time. But basically, and this goes back a long way to the old French long lots along lakes. And so one of the things that the Land Division Act aimed to improve upon was the depth to width ratio. So they don't want to see anything that's 4 times longer or deeper than it is wide.
So it's 165.
But I'm sure they've been around for a while and they're pre-existing and they're probably legal non-conforming. That's why I mentioned it that way. Yeah. Nothing to worry about there.
Well, if it's being sold now as is, it's legal gone.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was no impediments to the sale of the property.
Any more questions? Motions? Comments?
Make a motion to approve the special use permit public hearing to be set for September 14th, 2022, as for the item designated in agenda item 6E.
Support.
Okay, any more discussion?
Did we get any comments at all from any adjoining neighbors?
It hasn't been noticed yet.
Oh, okay, we're just setting the hearing, sorry.
This is just a request.
Yep, this
Right.
puts into action the notification requirements in the edit
Yeah,
in the newspaper.
All right, all in favor?
Bye.
Opposed? Motion passes. See you in a month.
More action I should hang up for?
It's about as
pretty
exciting as
wild.
it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Pete. Okay, number 7, unfinished business, attainable affordable housing discussion.
Yeah, I believe at the last meeting, we agreed to talk about this more in the fall. This was left on there as a placeholder. Really nothing to add to that at this time.
Okay.
So Jason, can we look at what Munising's doing? It was on the news, no, maybe it's not really applicable.
They're gonna have 30% of those apartments fall within the low, moderate income threshold.
Okay,
But the
What
rest
does
of
that
it.
mean?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. What does
Yeah,
it mean?
okay, so there's people make a certain amount of money, all right?
Yeah.
30% of the apartments that will be available in that, I don't know how many there are, will be marketed towards people who make a certain amount of money or below. Okay? But if you, and I think this is true with the city with what they did with the old orphanage, I think there's a sunset on that. And I think after a certain period, that requirement goes away, but I'm not positive, but I think there was some provision woven into there.
Are those subsidized housing in Munising,
Well, subsidized by
federal government?
Grant.
Rent
It's a
control?
grant.
a grant that was supported by HUD or MISTA, one of the
Okay.
two.
For the construction.
Right.
But I mean, so, and I know in Ishpeming, there's the Camden Manor Apartments, which is prorated.
100%.
Prorated.
Yeah.
So if you have X, your income is this, you pay, $1,000.
Mhm.
And if you have this much, you pay $650, and you have this much, you pay $500. That's not what we're talking about in Munising, is it? Or are we talking about that at the old orphanage?
I'm talking about that at the old orphanage, but
That's-
only a percentage of those apartments are required to be.
Right.
See, that's what the legislation that came out required. If you're gonna use this funding mechanism, then this shall happen. So it's the same with the Munising. The Munising piece is neat because they're gonna have a spot for incubator businesses, they're gonna have probably a coffee shop, so it's a mixed-use development, it's not just residential.
And those are rental units, they're not owned units.
I believe, yes, I believe they're apartments,
Just rental.
from what I gleaned off the
Yeah, that's what I got too.
TV6 anyway, I don't know how reliable they are, but.
That's what the newspaper seemed to imply.
Yeah, no, I actually reached out to the developer of that property with an email yesterday after seeing the news article, asking her if she'd be interested in doing a project in Marquette or how we could connect. I don't know when or if I'll hear back from her, but I thought that, I think they're Reno design.
Aren't they more of a facilitator, and they're not actually even the general developer? They actually facilitate the getting this grant money and
Correct,
getting
but-
this stuff rolling, and then they take their cut and out of water.
Administrative
Right.
fees, right, but who they are working with is Hall Contracting.
Oh,
And Bromley, and built the fire hall along with, he was part of the design build package for both buildings, actually. The fire hall and this building. So I have a relationship with Bromley, and he's actually going through some stuff right now. He found out he's got potentially some cancer issues, so I just wanted to try to make a connection any way I could and just say, hey, we would be interested in something like that, or, a mixed-use development that would work on a property that we might have, such as the 5 acres. So you guys kind of broached that at the last meeting, and I
Right.
followed up on that.
Can we maybe get them or somebody similar to give us a little presentation, even if we don't do it at a regular meeting? Maybe we could have a special additional meeting where we could attend like a little presentation by these people? Because it's,
Yeah.
because, okay, you're talking about rental units, so then you gotta determine like, okay, income level and what the rent is gonna equate. But we're also talking about low-cost housing to be purchased, affordable housing.
Right.
Right, so
Right.
we need somebody to tell us what is affordable housing in terms of a price?
Well, that can be
How do you-
pretty quickly done.
Community-based.
Essentially, you're not supposed to spend 30 more of your gross income on housing. Okay?
It's not 25% anymore?
But I
No,
know,
it's
but
30.
who do you set at the baseline? So, like, let's say you got a family that makes 100,000 a year. Okay, don't they deserve affordable housing? So then, what kind of structure would you impose on a developer like Longyear, for example, so they could construct a house of some size that would be affordable to a family that made $100,000 a year?
That's $30,000 a year in rent.
Mhm. So divide that by 12.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
that's a lot.
In our minds.
Yeah, it is.
We have
That's
to
over
look at what
over
the, we have to look at the
$2,300 a month rent.
wages in our community. There's so many things to look at.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, how do we know?
Well, the county health department has a lot of statistics, and you can look that up. You can look up what the median wage is in our county and the average wage and all that.
So it's $2,500 a month.
I wouldn't wanna pay that.
That's affordable
I
housing?
wouldn't wanna,
If you make
No,
$100,000.
I was gonna say that $100,000.
It's a scale, okay? So if you made only $50,000 a year, and you multiplied that by 0.30, you've got $15,000 a year. That divided by 12 equals $1,250 a month.
No, I know, but you're using the calculation that the people who lend money use. You shouldn't spend more than 30% of your thing on housing. People can't, that doesn't make sense to people. Just like we just said, $100,000, $30,000 a year, that's not affordable for people.
Well, non-affordable would be anything more than 30% of your gross income.
Yeah, you have to have some figure there to say what is the affordability figure. So that's what you use.
Why not pick 20%?
Well, that's what I
Because
said, it
the
used to be
fed- I think
25%, but now it's 30%,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that was, yeah, some.
it all depends,
somewhere. Yeah,
all
I know.
depends.
Remember we did this on the phone and it came up like I was right, and I was like, hey.
But I know, but I mean, how can people,
Was that a first? or-
I know, I understand.
No.
I don't think people can afford that.
They can't.
So I agree with you, Denny. I think it'd be great to, when Munising gets going, to sit down and listen to how they started, where it's going. The cost of living in Munising is less than the cost of living in Marquette. And, you know, how do we reach out to provide something?
Well-
Community-based housing has to be affordable for the
And what
community.
was confusing about that article about Munising was they talked about a $250,000 grant, but then they talked about an $18 million project.
Yeah, so
What is the $18 million?
it's a drop in the bucket compared to what that project is gonna cost.
Right.
And where's the money coming from?
Oh, it's coming, yeah, there was some designation.
They have to put some money in. They had to put some skin in the game in Munising.
Yeah.
The
And I
community-
think that we would have to put some skin on the game on any development that involves private property where you're trying to influence a developer into building affordable housing.
Right,
Yeah.
We talked about that. What's the gap and how can we compensate the developer for the gap?
right. And how, so who advises us on that kind of a, how do we make it work? That's what I do. Are there some?
Well, those are the things that we're trying to research right now when
Yeah.
it's not slammed busy in the middle of the summer.
Right.
And I'm by myself for the
Well,
last
you're
8
pretty
weeks.
busy as it is.
But once Eric gets back, those are some of the bigger projects that I can dive into.
Okay.
And along with some grants to connect more bike path, which is a TAP grant from MDOT, which I've been holding off on because I just don't have the time right now to do it. But once Eric gets back and he starts doing the residential stuff again, then I have the opportunity to work on some of those larger projects.
You know, as long as we're on this topic of affordable housing, I was gonna save my comments until the comment section, but we're talking about Longyear. So why don't we propose to we were talking about suggesting to Longyear that they have some affordable housing in this new development. But, so why not ask them for three things? Affordable housing, solar. How many of your units are gonna have solar panels? Now, why is that important? Well, that's because we have a climate adaptation issue here in Marquette, in the country, in the world. That's an important thing. That's health.
I look forward to
Okay.
you posing those questions to
Oh,
them.
damn right I will. So, and then the third thing is how much are they gonna pay for, doing that intersection? Okay, so you got three asks. Which two are they gonna reject and which one are you gonna get?
Yeah, well, keep those in your craw, because you're
am.
gonna have an opportunity to speak to that soon.
When are they coming up?
They haven't submitted yet, but they will be soon.
Okay, okay.
Preliminary PUD.
But I mean, isn't it a good idea to have more than just one ask?
Believe me, I've got a list, a laundry list of things that I'm going to recommend that the planning commission suggests,
Okay.
okay? But I can't do that right now because they haven't submitted anything yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, what about solar? As a requirement for a new development? They're gonna put how many units in there? 200?
200 plus.
Well, why not have a third of them have solar panels?
That's a very reasonable request.
Yeah.
But also, you're gonna add to the affordability of it, because solar panels are very expensive.
Well, yeah, but there's gonna be a certain, segment of that development that people with money are gonna be able to buy. It's not gonna be unaffordable. So why not have those units have solar?
Well, see, they're not gonna be building these houses, they're gonna have contractors build them, and they
They're gonna
won't
be
be
sold
doing it
before they're
themselves. They're just selling the
They're
lots.
selling the lot.
So I don't think they wanna put something
Oh,
in.
they're not gonna have any control over the development and the building?
No, they're gonna have full control over the development, but what I'm saying is that
Not when you build your house.
there's
This
gonna
isn't
be
a
a
condo
combination
setup, is
of,
it?
site condominium and traditional condominium.
Oh, it will all be condo,
I believe so.
so then you can control it.
Yeah, let's not, it's
We
not
have
here
to
yet,
wait.
let's just
Alright.
wait until we get it, and then we'll start to dissect it.
All right,
You can have single-family homes in a condominium, just so we understand.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I think the Munising
You
thing,
can have single-family attached in the condominium.
I think the Munising project is something to keep our eyes on, just to watch and see.
Yeah,
how
it's been used,
progresses.
it was used on the old orphanage, probably the
Yep.
same funding mechanism.
well, just so, I don't know if you know this, but one Marquette Place, that has subsidized housing in it also. They have to designate a certain amount of,
You know why? Because they got huge tax breaks for that.
yeah, exactly. And that's gonna be the same thing with that, project, the Savings Bank building.
So there's your avenue, Denny. What kind of tax savings can Longyear get by creating 30% of that development as a moderate income housing?
I don't know, we need a lawyer to
Well,
What kind
explain that
of
to
tax
us.
breaks are they getting?
In the-
Is there a tax incentive?
They got all different kinds of grants, you know, when
For-
they did
for,
Marquette Place.
in this
They got
new build.
But if they're
brownfield
talking
and,
about most of their stuff's gonna be sold ahead of time, what do they care if they're getting tax breaks?
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be sold ahead of time. I bet you some of it will.
But property tax breaks?
Some of-
I don't know about property tax breaks. I think
Because
it
it
was
can't be
just
sales
the-
tax, we can't do squat about sales tax.
Let me ask a question. Are we in the opportunity zone of Marquette County?
I believe a portion of the township is.
Okay, because on the rocket launch thing, okay, when Marquette County sent this original response to request for information to MAMA, okay, they said, hey, we're in an opportunity zone. If you create 20 jobs, permanent jobs with this rocket launch shit, we will pay no property tax and no personal income tax.
Yeah,
So-
they're not gonna be creating any jobs out in Longyear though, potentially. Maybe they will. They're supposed to have a community building,
yeah, there might be a couple
they
for,
talked
to
about
administer the
a dog
condos,
park or something. I don't know.
maintenance.
So maybe if there's, that kind of, okay, all right. A lot of things to think about.
Yeah.
You must have been a hippie when you were a young man.
Well, yeah, well, like you. I was like you.
I hear it.
All right, we better move on to 7B here, capital improvement plan discussion, which we don't have anything to talk about really either.
I don't know what else to say. It's kind of a weird process, right, that we've been a part of, at least since the time that I've been here. it's an odd thing because the board essentially, I guess, does what they want with these, but I think it's good for the planning commission to recognize staff's needs, and, you know, what they believe is required. And then, you know, you send it on to the board saying, you know, we support these efforts, and it also is another level of knowing, for the planning commission to know what projects are coming or what things are needed, you know, moving forward. So this is supposed to be kind of a 6-year look, I believe, per the state statute, and they've been pretty consistent. You know, it's gonna be heavy on DPW, a little bit from the fire department, and maybe 1 or 2 from my end, but.
And maybe this is our opportunity to meet with the township board and the planning commission, and to have those people who come to present to us only present one time to the whole group.
That's a great idea.
Do you know, because, and it would be a good way for this planning board to sort of say what they think about what's going on to the township board members who have the final vote. So think about maybe, and they're not even gonna discuss the budget until October, is what they told me when I asked. So maybe that first meeting in October, we could meet with the whole board and not have Lenny and Dan Shanahan and whoever else, Jason, come multiple times to explain the same thing over and over.
That's a good idea. I can keep that up.
Can you like
Yeah, I
move
can
that
facilitate
forward?
that.
Yep.
So from our perspective as the planning commission, I had a hard time seeing tonight, and I asked for larger screens. So my hope is that we get 52-inch screens like they have in the community room that we rent out.
Well, these
for
are
those of
60,
us-
so we need to go 80 or
Oh,
100.
well, whatever.
120.
So those of us that want to be able to see the stuff and our audience, we would have a better view. So I did ask for that. I don't know who really asked for it, but we did get new technology. Notice that the podium is moved. There is a wire in the ceiling that picks up sound now.
Okay.
And it is easier to stream. We haven't started streaming, but maybe the planning commissions will be streamed, or maybe not, or whoever. But the technology from that perspective has been updated, just not the screens yet. I could not see the white lines. Okay, just saying.
I think that was just, color was just super saturated on that, that just washed them up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
our
can see
zoning-
them clearly on here,
Yeah.
and I can see them clearly on this one, but I couldn't see them
Yeah.
on there either.
Well, and these are old is what I was told. So technology-wise, you know, stuff has to be replaced pretty frequently, unfortunately. So, yeah.
I'll give you
So-
$5 for them.
Yeah, I'd happy to take one of these home.
Someone's taking it to their office.
So we'll
probably.
shoot for an October joint meeting regarding the CIP.
What do you think? What does everyone think?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the budget approved then.
The budget
Has to be approved by December.
the first, there's some day in December it has to be approved by. December 1st? Something like that.
I think it's December.
They seem to think
15th.
there's not a lot of controversy with what we need.
So we'll get the request like in September before that October meeting, so we can look at it ahead of time and discuss it amongst us.
Well, you have the request minus, well, maybe the one that Linda,
The
maybe
roof on the,
you directed Manager
it's
Kangas to
done.
put that together, and then the one for the plotter scanner, which I gave to Manager Kangas, but I have not seen since. So
So-
yes,
So
those two.
just
will be-
whatever those are, that's what it's gonna be.
The two additions
No
of
changes.
those,
Are they
yeah.
still looking for a?
but the roof is on
The
the,
fire hall edition, the 3,000 square foot trailer storage building or something?
Only if it was a part of their CIP package
yeah.
request.
I don't know.
But part in that package of the stuff we got from Jason said that some roof needed to be fixed on the water sewer department building. And I think that's already been done. So I'm sure we'll get something updated.
Okay, yep,
Yeah.
moving forward.
Okay. Moving forward to our favorite topic, 760 Lake Enchantment Road correspondence.
I'll give you the latest. We had 3 people go out and try to put together a bid for this project, okay? And only one person submitted a bid. The other 2 just said it was beyond what they were able to do. That bid has been submitted to Roger Zappa. Roger Zappa has been in touch with Mike Camilli. Mike Camilli is the person who, if it wasn't cleaned up, and it wasn't before June 1st, was going to be the responsible party. From what I understand, he had a conversation with Roger Zappa and got his own bid to get rid of the metal and tires, and that is in process. So that's the latest that I have on it.
And is there gonna be somebody there from the township when they're cleaning that up and says, throw that in the bin too?
Yeah, I will be able to.
And somebody to handcuff Danny when he starts going wild that you're taking his stuff?
I can go out there and help.
Just give him a gift certificate to the council.
He may not. I'm just saying that, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, you know, make sure they don't overlook anything. That he's like hidden in the woods or stuffed in some, you know. And
Or
then
put
the-
on Camilli's property
And the
next door.
second the stuff's gone, it starts piling up again. You know, I hate to have to go through this every year.
They are both, Mike and, this, Mike McCumbee is an older band teacher guy. He's not affiliated with these two at all, but these other two guys are pretty slippery. For instance, I believe Danny Johnson put the vehicles, or several of them, on Camilli's property. Now, does that mean we need to start a new property maintenance procedure against Camilli? And if it does, we will.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. Again, excited to get Eric back
Yeah.
and be able to focus more attention to those items.
And just, you know, on a personal side, it's my fervent wish that this is taken care of before snow falls this
Oh,
year.
boy, I
You
hope
know,
so.
I would appreciate that, because, you know, if it drags on another year, it's just,
Jason wants it done too.
Well, thanks for getting the quotes, because I know you had to have the sheriff go out there. It was
Oh,
like
yeah,
multiple
yeah.
people,
oh yeah, they pulled in
so-
my yard, so.
Yeah, so there was action on it.
I might actually get out of here by 8:30 today. Oh my God.
Okay, let's go.
All right,
So-
reports, Township Board report. Linda Winslow.
I kind of already said what we talked about, the screens and such. Other than that, check out our agenda and board packet on the township website. There's some informational stuff about bugs. And we have our electric doors, for those of you that haven't noticed.
Mm-hmm. I
That's
noticed that.
exciting.
Yep,
And,
I used it when I came in,
did you?
'cause my
And
shoulder's bad, so,
if you
yeah.
have any blockages at intersections from being able to see around, to see the traffic coming at you, let Pete LaRue know. He's working on getting it cut back.
Those are called vision triangles.
That's what, yep.
Rec committee report.
As reported at the last meeting, both the rec and road committee did not meet in July due to no quorum.
Planning and zoning report.
Eric will be back on Monday.
Yay.
No, in all seriousness, the ZBA approved dimensional variances for both a small residential accessory structure on Lake Enchantment, or I'm sorry, not on Lake Enchantment, on Lake Superior, up on Eagles Nest Road, and they also approved the request to have 2 tiny homes on the same property, even though it was only 40,000 square feet.
On Eagle's Nest? The tiny homes too?
No,
Okay.
tiny homes are on 550, but
Philville?
Philville.
Yeah, so the 200 on Eagles Nest Road got the variance?
Yes, Amy and Rick
Rick.
Frieden.
Good.
Did you say good? That was good?
Yeah, I think it
Okay.
was a good deal, yeah.
Yeah.
They got it.
So that was a situation where I wouldn't have known this. We're not out looking for this stuff. But the northerly neighbor, a year later, and was on site during the construction of said structure, complained against it. And what happened was she went and got a survey and found out that the structure was inside of 10 feet, which is the side yard setback in a rural residential. So then I got with the Friedens and said, hey, your neighbor's complaining here, I don't have a zoning permit for your pottery shed. And the county doesn't have a building permit for
How
it.
big is it?
It's 144 square feet. So the county wouldn't have had a
Right.
right.
200 square foot, right?
turns out that in years prior, there was a 3 times larger shed that was encroaching across the line that was removed as a result of some damage that happened by the big storm in 2017. And the Friedens had to have an emergency, much like the neighbor to the north and probably some other neighbors along there, had to put in some big boulders to stop their houses from falling in the lake.
Yeah, those two.
And that happened to be, it was damaged by the storm, but it was also knocked into by the company that was out there. So they took the thing down. And then they moved it, off of the property line. Didn't know they needed a permit for a 144 square foot structure. They do now. And she still complained against it. But anyway, she had, the Friedens ended up getting what I thought was, justifiable 5-foot variance from the required 10-foot setback.
Yeah.
Plus, she never said anything to them directly. She just,
They do not
They
like
don't-
each
they don't
other,
talk.
and that's half the reason that it ended up at the ZBA.
Well, the onus on them was to follow zoning to put in a building.
You're right.
That was their responsibility.
I think it was an honest mistake,
True, but
but I gave him a pass.
Ignorance of the law is what? Denny?
Yeah.
No excuse.
There we go.
Well, the building was there before too, so that was like.
Right, there's the whole argument of, well, they put up a replacement structure. I
smaller
gave
and
them a
further
path.
away.
I gave them a path to have it be bona fide and legal, and they won. The ZBA could have turned it down, and they would have had to move it.
Yeah.
But they understood, kind of the situation. And Jim Becker, who was the alternate on the ZBA, I thought he did really well at the meeting. Well, Jim was there too, and he asked a really pointed question to the complainant, which was, how long was the gap in the time that the structure went up or was started to be constructed till you complained? And it was over a year.
It's
So.
called laches.
Well, not only that, but she couldn't even see, her
Yeah,
house
her
was
house is
200 feet
200
away
feet.
from the shed, and she couldn't even see it, because there's a whole bunch of trees up there.
Yeah, I love neighborhood.
So,
A lot of interesting dynamics.
yeah. Anything else?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Nothing with the bakery that we can't talk about?
Nothing new there.
Okay.
I would be happy to tell you if I did.
Are we talking about the bakery at the,
Franco?
yeah.
Yes.
Did you go to that land division seminar yet?
No,
Okay.
that's coming up. We can go to it together if you want.
I'm just curious.
I'll pay for you.
I'm just curious. I'll give you a question to ask. How's that?
When are the seminars that are gonna be held here? When are they, and how do we?
You have to read through your packet that I gave you at the
think
last meeting, but I believe they're in
It's there.
October.
Okay, okay.
They
And
start in
do we
October.
contact you rather than sign up online for those? We contact
If you'd like, yeah, just let me know which one you want to go to, or I'm gonna sign you all up and just, if you go, you go, and if you don't, you don't, but,
I think, aren't they free?
well, they are because we're hosting.
Right, yeah,
So,
so they're free.
It's either free or they give us a big discount. But you gotta remember, you guys have a budget, in, a line item in the budget for education and travel, in the same way that I do. I have not extinguished a dime out of our travel and training budget in 2 years.
Well, Lynn sent that last thing around about this thing is gonna be held at the Ramada or the Holiday Inn or something, but that didn't sound that interesting. The one that was scheduled for here sounded more interesting,
Yes, and more applicable.
more applicable to what we have to do,
Mhm.
yeah. So why don't you, just sign me.
It would be, I would appreciate you guys doing that because, I've been a planner for 16, 17 years now. But I would, I want to go because I always learn something new and you got to kind of stay abreast of what's relevant and modern. Because, I get entrenched and just laser focused on what Marquette Township needs. So it's nice to hear other people present planning and zoning issues. And it would be nice for you guys to hear other commentary on those issues from somebody else.
Yeah.
And certainly Michigan State Extension and Brad Newman and his team, they do a great job, and I really like Brad. He's a sharp egg.
I just met him tonight.
Oh, did you?
I
Good.
did.
And then lastly, Tuesday I'll be going overnight to Alpena. I've been invited to
Okay.
present our property acquisition grant to the full Michigan Natural Resource Trust Fund board. So I drive down to Alpena Friday night, present for 10 minutes in the morning to them, and then drive home.
Wow.
But, just think.
But it's
Right.
important to go.
Yeah, and it's like, you know,
That's for the park.
great, you were invited.
Yeah, it's great. There's only a handful of, I think there's over 200 applications, and I'm one of 12 that were invited to speak.
And that's for the park that we're building here?
Yeah, the acquisition of the Ross's property.
Why does MEDC handle it in, is it MEDC?
No, Michigan Natural Resource Trust.
Oh, the trust fund, and they're based out of Alpena?
No, that's kind of a central location. They might do a couple of them. This one for this region and the northern upper is in Alpena.
And what are we asking for, 16 million or?
No, 1.6 million
Oh,
for
1.6.
16 acres.
1.6. for
So
16.
we're hoping the property appraises, first of all, we hope we're awarded the grant, but then the property's got to appraise at 100,000 an acre, which is less than what property in the vicinity has been going for.
Okay.
Bethany knows that.
Well, yeah, just even on Lincoln Chapman Road, how much it went for.
My neighborhood, how much it's going for, and it's really.
Yeah, I just approved a new house down there on Lake Enchantment on the south side.
Was that?
I just approved a new home on the south side of Lake Enchantment, early on in the road though.
Yeah, 275? No, earlier, further, the one that's building up on top of the ridge? So
No, it
when you
was,
drive in, which way am I facing? I'm facing west, aren't I?
when you drive in, it'd be on the right.
Oh, first one on the right? Yeah,
Not-
okay.
Yeah,
The first new one on the right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know which one that is.
yeah, there might be a couple, maybe
Well,
Eric.
there's two more past that, so there's
Oh, good.
actually 3 things going in there.
Okay,
Gonna be a new home on Eagles Nest too. You talked to the Murrays?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, nice guy,
yeah, very nice.
very thorough application, made it really easy to approve.
Yeah, he's retired at 58 from construction, so, yeah. He knows a lot about it.
All right. Any announcements from anyone? And we'll do public comment one more time. But seeing there's no one here, we're not gonna get any public comment. So let's go to additional comments by the planning commissioners.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
So I won't be here on the 24th, I'll be at a event I was invited to in Detroit.
Okay.
Okay?
Or you're gonna miss the fun.
I am, I'm gonna have my own fun.
All right, and I haven't on either, so we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. At 8:22.
There we
So you
go.
got 8:30 Jay.
It's a record. We've had some dandies in the last month or so.
Yeah.
I know it, I know it.
Let's ask for many things.
They're gonna make millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Are they, who's gonna build the road work out there? They're gonna do